Welcome back. Come on in. Come hang out. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Breaking down a Lions playoff win. Yeah, I said that. This is not a prank. Lions won a playoff game for the first time since the 1991-1992 season. It's been 30 years, guys. Hence why I got a black and mild. I know typically, and you look around the NFL, there's fan bases that just experience this every other year. But for us, it's different. For us, it's been a long time coming. And this is a sign that it's different moving forward. Now, I know the NFL is it's not a year-to-year league, right? Everything doesn't happen, linear. It happens. You have injuries and different things happen. But you have to, when you have an opportunity like this, you have to celebrate it because every year is different, right? And for the Lions to not only move on, but the Cowboys to not move on, it just speaks so much volume, right? It's so nice. I mean, yeah, the Packers, whatever. I mean, it stinks they won a playoff game, but they beat the team that I have no problem with them beating. And we'll get to that. But right now, let's talk about that Ryan Gosling looking motherfucker.
I've been long since you said that.
Jared Goff. I gotta light my cigar. But 1 second. Jared Goff did something yesterday of which I asked. Play a clean game, be efficient, and he not only that, he was zipping that thing. Zipping it early on. I'm not talking dink and dunks. I'm talking bullets all across the field. You look at that fourth down play in the red zone to Laporta. That took guts. For Dan to call it, and that was one of, again, for people that are like, we have this argument, would you have liked it either way? I was cool with that because of how the game was going. The Rams' first 3 drives, 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So at that point, you're like, we got to score. We absolutely have to score. And they did. And Jared stood in the pocket, went through his progressions, and found Laporta. And it was a dime. It was a dot. And I will say that. So for Jared Goff, this is a man that's been, discussed a lot amongst media, amongst fans. Is he the future of Detroit? What a hell of a way to make a case. At Ford Field to win their first playoff game, home playoff game, win a division, and to play as well as he did. He didn't blow you. He didn't have Stafford numbers, right? 300-plus yards. But he played clean. He played efficient, and the Lions led the entire game. Like I told you, I didn't need 300 yards. I didn't need 2, 3, 4 TDs. I didn't. I needed that from Jared Goff. That right there is a guy that we know you can win playoff games with. You can win divisions with. All that stuff beyond that, we can have another debate. How much you pay him? Fuck all that. I don't give a damn. We'll save that for another day. Right now, Jared Goff deserves his flowers, and he balled out yesterday. He did. And there was times where he was getting pressure, right? And the offensive line was breaking down a little bit. Panay got beat, which, my God, I thought it was on shrooms. I never see that. Panay never gets beat. I thought I was tripping for a second. And even through all the BS, the run game kind of slowing down in the second half, Jared Thomas Goff stood up, and he stayed pat, and he played extremely well all the way up until the last play, making that throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown and closing it off. It was good. Even though the Lions' offense as a whole took a step back in the second half, and we could discuss that, and that's something they're going to have to fix, obviously. But how they started, and then when they needed him at the end, he came up. And that's the true definition to me of a franchise quarterback. You want consistency, right? We'll see how he does next week. But what a way to start. Holy hell.
Jared Goff was borderline flawless in last night's game, and that's just facts. He did exactly what the Lions needed him to do to win that game. I mean, what do we always say about Jared Goff when the positive things about him? He's a smart quarterback. He makes the right reads. He obviously has a lot of chemistry with guys like Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds. He doesn't try to do too much, especially when they're playing those home games when he's protected. He almost always makes the right decision, and he's made so many big throws this season, including last night, that 4th and 1 to Sam Laporta. He made a couple to Josh Reynolds early on when he was leading the team down to 3 consecutive touchdown drives to start the game. And obviously that throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown on 2nd and 9 when they needed 1 first down to seal the game, and he just zipped that thing in there. Jared Goff was absolutely unbelievable last night. And the thing, too, that impressed me about that is that What do we always say about Jared Goff? And I'm just gonna go over this very, very briefly because I don't even wanna bring that up. When everything is perfect, Jared Goff can get it done. Well, last night there were some times where he had clean pockets and receivers were running open, but everything was certainly not perfect for Jared Goff last night, and he still got it done in the most critical spots. The running game, the Lions running game, which had averaged damn near 140 yards per game last night, gave you 25 carries for 79 yards on 3.2 yards per carry. Not ideal. If I would have been told that going into the game, I would have not taken that. I would have been a little bit worried because obviously we know what David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs have done this season, what they can do. But last night wasn't one of their better nights. The run blocking was suspect at times. But Jared Goff, whatever he needed to make the throws and lead his team down the field, he most certainly did that, especially at the beginning of the game. And his second team all-pro tight end, arguably the best tight end in football. He played, he had a touchdown catch, but he was clearly a little bit hampered. He wasn't that involved in the passing game, and I think with a healthier Sam Laporta, he would have been more involved, and I think Jared Goff would have been looking to him more. But still, those are things that are not going your way. And also, as I mentioned before, Jared Goff had some clean pockets, had some open receivers, which he pretty much hit every single time, which is huge for a quarterback. But he was sacked 3 times, he was hit 6 times, and he never really let that rattle him. When he needed to step up in the pocket and deliver a dart, he would do it. When he needed to make the right read and make the smart play, he would do it. He didn't put the ball up for grabs. He didn't throw any interceptions. He didn't fumble, even when he was pressured, even when he was hit, even when he was sacked. And that was Jared Goff on the most important stage. And you mentioned it, Jeff. You mentioned that he didn't. I think you kind of sold him just a little bit short, and it's not your fault when you talked about, he didn't put up the big stats. 22 of 27 for 277 and a touchdown. Those are some pretty damn good stats, and you would take those any day of the week from your franchise quarterback. And I think Jared Goff, he really ingratiated himself to all of Lions Nation. We are all on the Goff train right now because he helped deliver something that the Lions had not had since after the 1991 season, and he did it in a game where the running game was a little bit spotty. He did it in the game where you said Panay got beat. He got hit a couple of times. He got sacked a couple of times. He did it in a game when his number one tight end and his second most reliable option was, I would say, not 100%. Mm-hmm. He got Amon-Ra St. Brown involved. He got Josh Reynolds involved. And he pretty much rode those connections to early on touchdowns and big plays when they needed them late in the game. Jared Goff, I doubted you a lot this year, but you showed me something last night. And he really opened my cold heart as well. He warmed it. It grew a couple sizes, like the Grinch.
I will say this, Sam Fladel.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Thank you.
And I'll add to that. Because you like your quarterback, especially if you think he's a franchise quarterback, to do it on a big stage, right? What bigger stage than not just a wild card game, but at Ford Field for potentially their first win in 30 years? That's a hell of a stage. Before the game even starts, Jared Goff. The amount of pressure this man has on him to deliver, but also to face the team that said, yeah, you're trash. We'll take Stafford. So there's 2 different narratives in that game. And he looked composed, and man, he could have easily crumbled under pressure, and we could have came out here and said, man, that's unfortunate. Jared crumbled. Maybe he's not the franchise, but he did the opposite. And you're right, Sam. Maybe I'm underselling him a little bit. Over 225 yards, a TD pass, no interceptions, no turnovers. Hell of a game from Jared Goff, JB. Hell of a game. Excuse me.
Taking a victory sip over here. I apologize about that.
No,
but
you're
yeah,
good.
It's a hell of a game from Goff. And as you said, there were times, I believe Dan Campbell even said in his press conference that he made 2 errors, but he didn't let that stop him. And I'll be the first one to say, hey, down the stretch of that game in the fourth quarter, I got a little nervous. I got a little, I don't know about this. Our defense wasn't really holding up as well as we like to have seen them out there. Cam Sutton, come on, man. You got to get a little bit better at this because Cooper Kupp was making you look foolish out there as well as Puka Nacua. But still, at the same time, you didn't let that stop him. The offense did not stop. They did not slow down. And as soon as they got that first down from Amon-Ra, I knew it sold it. That was it. We got this in the bag. They had no timeouts left. This is it. It is time to celebrate and actually realize that, hey, the Lions are moving on. And hell, who am I to tell them no? Hell, fuck Super Bowl. Let's do this.
Yo, they're going to get another home playoff game. And just a quick...
I could get used to the Super Bowl, I ain't gonna lie to you.
And just a quick correction, yes, Jared Goff did fumble, but he didn't lose a fumble, so it doesn't go down as a turnover. And you can deal with those.
Doesn't count.
Yeah,
I didn't even see it.
It doesn't count. I didn't. Yeah.
You know what, KG? When he fumbled, I was Stevie Wonder. I didn't see it.
You're right.
Nope. I didn't see it.
What fumble?
Nope.
Never happened.
I don't know what you're talking about. What'd you think about Jared Goff yesterday?
Man, I can't speak enough to this guy's. Sorry, I can't speak enough to this guy's character as like a football player. Man, he's so resilient, and he just fits what we do here so perfectly. Man, he I don't know the word, but he exudes grit, I guess you would say. They've never faltered from day one, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. They said that this was their guy pretty confidently early on, and a lot of us had questions just based off what we seen him play as a Ram. But he absolutely delivered last night. He played one of his cleanest games I've ever seen him play in a Lions uniform. When it all mattered most, he made the throws that needed to be made, and the game was essentially on the offense the whole time. They were in control of it the whole time. You just got to give it up for him, man. And that's why I told you, I know we had the debate about, whether you want to defer, for the coin toss or whether you want to go out there. That's why I said you need to put the offense out there first, because that's our strongest unit. And he went out there and delivered and put instant pressure on that Rams team.
All right, KG, you were right.
Yeah, KG,
you were right.
KG, you were definitely right. Maybe it was that little bit of that Lions fan talking to me and how this thing could go south. But
I feel it.
You were right. As soon as they got the ball, boom, scored. Got the ball back, boom, scored. Next time, boom, scored.
Yep.
And that's going to be the reason. If they make this playoff run, which they have an opportunity to, I mean, they'll see who wins, Bucks or Eagles. It'll be because of this offense. We're not going to sit here. I mean, the defense, it's the bend, don't break approach, but the offense is really everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you're going to make this type of playoff run if you expect them to. Let's go to break. When we come back, I do want to have a conversation about Sheila, Brad, and Dan Campbell and what they're building here in Detroit, what the Detroit Lions are becoming. This is exciting, isn't it? We could be talking about some corner from Toledo on why you should be a Detroit Lion, but instead we're previewing the Lions